Hi everyone, just want to check in and we are going to try and complete your physical science, the kinetic and potential energy and energy conversions worksheet. So as you can see, I posted this image on your Google Classroom as well as just a fun little video to help you remember the difference between the two. So I just wanted to explain a couple things before we started this worksheet. So when potential energy, first of all, potential energy is stored energy. It's energy that's not necessarily moving. Kinetic energy is our energy that is moving. So if you look in this image right here, we see that our potential energy is high and our kinetic energy is low. Our potential energy is high because think about when you're on a roller coaster, you're up at the top, you're not moving, but when you do move, you're gonna go really fast. Think about going down that hill. So that's why we have a really high potential energy, because we're about to go really fast. Our kinetic energy is low then because we are not moving. So once this little cart is released and goes down the hill, that's when it changes over and our potential energy is low because we are now moving, and our kinetic energy is high, once again, because we are now moving, if that makes sense. So I found that diagram, and once I saw that, it really helped me complete the rest of this worksheet. So if you look in the first example, it's kind of got a similar image to what we see on our screen right here. You can see I don't know if these are beads or really what they are. So up here, that's going to be when our potential energy is high, right? Think about this little cart right at the top. It's up top, it's not quite moving yet. So the same spot where our potential energy is high, our kinetic energy has to be low. So those two are always going to go together, and then the low potential energy and high kinetic energy are always going to go together. Hopefully that makes sense. So I wrote on mine that right up at the top, right here, we had a high potential energy and low kinetic energy. But once it moved down here, that's when it changed over to our low potential energy and high kinetic energy. So let's look at number 3, right below it. We have a little person on the diving board. Okay, so think about when you're on that diving board, before you even go to jump in that pool, you're not necessarily moving. So we're going to have our high potential energy, and I'm just going to label potential energy as PE, and then kinetic energy as KE. So as you can see, I labeled that little guy. He has high potential energy and low kinetic energy. Then once he jumps into the pool, it changes over. Okay, he's now going to have low potential energy, right? Because he jumped into the pool, and high kinetic energy. See my little arrow? It's not very dark. There. All right, now let's look right below again at number 5. We have like a bow and arrow. So think when you have your bow, you're holding it, you're looking at the target, it's not moving. Okay, so right here where it's not moving, it's going to have a very high potential energy. So you're going to write high PE, and if it's a high potential energy, that must mean it has a low kinetic energy, or KE. So I'm going to label that like so. And then once it's released, which I'm just going to, you can pick one of the arrows to write it on, that's when it's going to have a high kinetic energy, or a high KE, and a low potential energy, or low PE. So I would like you to go ahead and complete number 2 and number 4 by yourself. Think kinetic, high potential energy and low kinetic energy must always go together, and low potential energy and high kinetic energy must always go back together. So make sure if you are confused or if you have any other questions, please comment below. Let me know and I can try and help you through those. And look at this picture that I posted, because when I was completing this, I had to have this pulled up to help me. Just as like a little reminder. Okay, so go ahead and complete that. Once you are done, you're going to do number 6 and 7. Number 6 says, a book sliding across a desk comes to a rest. It feels slightly warm. What happened in terms of energy changes? So think, when the book is sliding, it's moving, right? So that's kinetic energy. When it stops, it has potential energy. It has store energy. So it moves from kinetic energy to potential energy. So the book moves from kinetic energy to potential energy. All right. Number 7 says, Joe has twice the body mass as Sam. Sam is moving twice as fast as Joe. Is the kinetic energy of Joe less than or equal to or equal greater than Sam's? Explain your answer. Hint, look at the equation for kinetic energy. Okay, I'm going to provide the equation for kinetic energy below, so you can look at that there and use that to figure out the problem. Again, let me know if you have any questions.